Yes, Mr. Mayor, I so move the adoption of the agenda for tonight's meeting, October 21st, 2024. Very important day.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Councillor Cohen. It's his birthday.
Thank you very much.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Kajavsky. All in favor? The agenda is so adopted, and now we are going to have the rules for question period. Please, Darrell Levine. Followed by the land acknowledgement.
Justice, devoir du souvenir, liberté culturelle et inclusion sont des valeurs chères à la ville de Côte Saint-Luc. Nombre de nos résidents et leurs descendants ont construit leur vie ici, après avoir fui des situations difficiles ailleurs. Le Canada a été leur refuge. Mais pour les peuples et les communautés autochtones, les politiques gouvernementales au Canada ont créé des injustices. The island of Montreal, where we are meeting today, has a much older name, Chokshage. It was a historic gathering place for many indigenous communities. It was also the site of diplomacy, including the Great Peace of Montreal. Nous remercions la nation Gagnou-Geaga, également connue sous le nom de la nation Mohawk, pour son hospitalité sur un territoire non cédé. We must acknowledge the past, so that we can move forward in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation.
Le conseil municipal de Côte Saint-Luc permet au public de poser des questions lors de ces séances du conseil, en français ou en anglais. Veuillez lire les procédures et les règles de la période de questions à l'arrière de la salle ou sur le site côtesaintluc.org. Enfin, il est interdit d'utiliser un langage violent, offensant ou irrespectueux pour poser une question au maire.
The Côte Saint-Luc City Council allows the public to ask questions at its council meetings, in French or English. Please read the question period procedure and rules at the back of the room or at côtesaintluc.org. Finally, no person may use violent, offensive, or disrespectful language when addressing a question to the mayor.
Thank you. And our first question is from Alfonso Abdon, Chair of the Filipino Heritage Society, 5850 Avenue McDonald. Welcome.
Mayor Brownstein, honorable councilors, hi everyone. My name is Alfonso Abdon, and I am the chairman of the Filipino Heritage Society of Montreal. I am not a resident of Côte Saint-Luc, but many of our members and friends are. We have partnered with United Against Hate Canada on a project to promote Filipino Heritage Month and to encourage twinning of cities in Canada with those in the Philippines. Our partner, Marvin Rotrand, who is, I'm sure, is familiar to you all, is present tonight. We would like to thank the Mayor, Brownstein, for hosting our delegation last September 17, and we want to express our gratitude for the Council for the motion on tonight's agenda to proclaim June as the Filipino Heritage Month in Côte Saint-Luc. There are nearly 2,000 Filipinos in the municipality, and about 6% of that's Côte Saint-Luc's population. Thus, this motion will be extremely meaningful to the community. I would like to invite all the council members to attend our global Zoom call planned for next June with the United Against Hate Canada, which examines the historic friendship of the Jewish and Filipino people. During the administration of President Manuel L. Quezon, the Philippines opened its doors to the Jewish refugees fleeing the Holocaust. This year marks our third year of educating the public about the rescue in the Philippines and our warm and enduring friendship with Israel. My question is, Mayor Brownstein, would it be possible to hold a flag raising or other celebration here in the City Hall to mark Côte Saint-Luc's first Filipino Heritage Month next June. An event here at the City Hall would be a wonderful way to launch the Filipino Heritage Month. Once again, please accept our thanks to your rapid and positive reply to our proposed Meet to You to proclaim our Heritage Month.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you so
evening.
much. I appreciate you being here today. And in terms of the flag raising, we'll definitely put it on the upcoming in-committee meeting for the council to discuss and hopefully approve. But we'll have to have, the council all discuss it as that's our procedure. We're very happy to be a part of this event tonight, of the resolution that we're passing. And certainly I'd like to participate in your event that's scheduled in June. And I'm sure many members of council would be interested in that as well, in that Zoom call.
That will be wonderful, Kelvin.
Thank you.
Councilors, Mayor, thank you very much.
The next question is from Jeremy Biskin.
Good evening. Before I start, I just want to wish those a Happy New Year who celebrated earlier this month. Firstly, my question is in regards to the handling of the meeting minutes.
Sorry, we'll wait for that phone to stop.
Yeah,
Because I'm not catching it.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Since June of 2024, none of the questions or answers have appeared in the official meeting minutes. Originally, I assumed this was an error, so I contacted the Legal Affairs and City Clerk. Eventually, I got an answer that this was not an omission and the way the minutes are produced have changed. I was told the meeting minutes are not a verbatim of the questions that are asked, and the clerk's office rather stick to the facts. To put it briefly, I responded to this communications by informing them that at least since 2006, the questions and answers have appeared in the minutes. Eventually, I did access to information, and the meeting minutes provided to me were from 1938 until now. After researching those minutes, all the questions have appeared mostly, and answers, since 1938. My main points are purposely not including the questions in the meeting minutes delegitimizes concerns and opinions brought by residents. It also removes a previous service that offered to the citizens and made it more accessible. So my main question is, what is the opinion of the mayor and the councilors for the clerk's office for ending 80-plus years of asking questions and answers in the minutes?
I have not reviewed the minutes since 1938, and I don't know what previous councils have done specifically, but I know this has been our procedure. This has been standard procedure, is, they don't write all the questions, every word and all the response. It's always a summary.
Yes.
A summary of what was the question and what was the response.
Yes.
That's the standard practice of this administration.
Because it's not in the minutes now.
What's not in the minutes?
The questions.
It's a summary. Go ahead, Councilor Berger.
I'm looking at the last minutes, the ones that we're adopting tonight, and it says 4 people asked to speak and they were heard. Is
Yes.
that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, and in previous minutes, we would have the names
Yes.
of the speakers and at least
Yes.
a summary of the question that they asked.
Yes. May 2024.
Oh, sorry.
So when did that change?
I don't know, we're going to have to look into when that change was made because it wasn't pursuant to a directive of council.
Exactly. When, from your research, when did that happen? The change?
June of this year.
June of this year?
Yes.
Up until then, it was written in which fashion?
Well, the question was presented not word for word, just like the citizen brought up this issue, blah, 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 and the answer was provided.
That's what my knowledge was of
Yes.
how it was been done. I don't know when the change was done and why, but we'll look into it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Norman Sabin.
Good evening. Happy birthday, Councillor Coe.
Thank you, Dr. Sabin.
Thank you. I'm not a pessimistic person, but as time goes on, I'm getting a little pessimistic that I'll ever be driving along Cavendish from Côte Saint-Luc to IKEA or to the airport, right to that extension there. I think we're looking at, I don't know, 8, 10 years till that would ever come to fruition. So we have to figure out another way to get people out of Côte Saint-Luc, who want to go east and north, get them out as quickly as possible. And the idea of the fleet superhighway sort of came to my mind. So I just wanted to broach it with you. First, I want to tell you that the distance, if you drive along Fleet from Cavendish to McDonald, does anybody know the distance from Cavendish to McDonald?
Not much.
It's 1.5 kilometers.
Right.
The distance from Cavendish to Cary is 1.9 kilometers. So if you do the math, if you were to drive at 40 kilometers an hour, starting at Cavendish, you made that double left turn and you drove all the way to McDonald, it turns out at 40 kilometers an hour, 1.5 kilometers, it's 135 seconds only to get to McDonald, and it's 171 seconds to get to Cary. So it's 2 minutes and 15 seconds to McDonald and 2 minutes and 51 seconds to get to Cary. So why am I telling you this? Because that would be a great thing if we could drive all the way down Fleet and get green lights the whole way down, not have to stop, and we'd be at McDonald in 2 minutes and 15 seconds and Cary in less than 3 minutes. And I think that's something that we should talk about a little bit.
There's a lot of stop signs, not only green lights.
Right. So, we had to kind of work with Hampstead to get those 5 stop signs taken, replaced with traffic lights. You have stop signs at Barron's Court, Netherwood, Harold, Finchley, and Dufferin. And if those could all be replaced with traffic lights, and if we could synchronize them properly, which is, not trivial, but it can be done, I mean, we could get in our cars and drive down Fleet and, really help us get out of Côte Saint-Luc a lot quicker and safer and, not pollute and everything. So I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts on that. The next question you're going to ask me, well, is who's going to pay for that? Obviously, it's going to cost a little bit of money. And the lights would be added to Hampstead, and they'd have to pay for part of it. But since it benefits Côte Saint-Luc residents, I think we'd have to pay for part of it too. But because it helps the environment, and that's an important point, we wouldn't have as much greenhouse gas emissions because we'd be able to go east and west without having to stop, hopefully. Maybe the Quebec Environment Ministry might be able to give us a hand with that too, because it's environmentally very, very, it's a very positive move. So I don't know if council has any opinions about that, whether that could ever...
We have a traffic committee, so we'll ask the traffic committee to take note of the recommendation of Mr. Sabin and see if there's any interest in following it up with the City of Hampstead. That's about it. I'm not going to tell you, I'm a lawyer by trade, but here I'm the mayor. I don't give legal opinions, and I certainly don't give traffic opinions, so I would give it to our traffic committee specialists to study it. Take a look, it's an interesting idea. Of course, it would require the coordination with other cities.
How long is
Not only Hampstead, with Montreal too.
Yeah, but how long does it take you now to drive from Cavendish to McDonald? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Depends on the rush hour or the time, or how many
depends
cars.
on it, but it's at least 5, 8 minutes to get there, so if we could get there in under 3 minutes, I think that would be a big thing, and then you can make your left turn on, on Clanranald, or your right turn on McDonald, or carry on to Cary, and would really help get people out of Côte Saint-Luc quicker and safer.
If there's any other council that gives to give an opinion on it, otherwise I want to thank you for your suggestion. And Darryl, do we have any other questions? Do you have any other questions? No? Do you have a comment? What? Oh, okay. Councillor Kajowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I was asked by a constituent and resident of Hudson Avenue, Ellen, I think you're here, Ellen, and Larry Kogut to read a petition that was deposited with the city clerk last week regarding alternate side parking on Hudson. So I'll read it, and then I can speak to it, or the results so far of the petition. So to the City of Côte Saint-Luc, we the undersigned residents of Hudson Avenue, living on the block between Kildare and Mackle, Wish to thank you for the seasonal changes made to the recent parking restrictions on our block. However, as many of us do not work 9 to 5 or are retired, we are coming and going during the course of the day. Due to the presence of the daycare on the next block, there are cars parked in front of our homes, often for the whole day. Winter is particularly bad. Since snow removal is done very early in the day, we feel that at most the restriction should only be for a short period of time in the morning during the winter or completely rescinded. Thank you for your consideration, and it's signed by, I would say, the great majority of the residents of Hudson Avenue between Kildare and Mackle. So just to this, it started off, I'll speak directly to you, Ellen, hi. It started off a little bit of a discussion. We've been discussing alternate side parking and adjustments to the alternate side parking for some time. It's a very complex issue involving multiple departments, public security, public works. So what's happened now, we have studied it in traffic committee. So we're having, I'd say, a little ad hoc committee meeting next week to get the department heads together along with city management to kind of just brainstorm in a group in one room and see if we can come up with some ideas on how to make adjustments. The important input's going to be from Public Works because it's a matter of coordinating their operations, which is tricky at the best of times. So all to say, we're having, it triggered a meeting that we're going to have next week, I believe on October 30th, after which we'll probably study whatever came of that meeting and whatever recommendations, we'll study it in the traffic committee at the next meeting, which is likely to be probably in early December, I would say. So that's it. Speaking on behalf of Alan Gogan, thank you.
Appreciate that, Councilor Gajowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so before we move to the first, the next item on the agenda, which would be the approval of the minutes, I'm giving you a couple of updates. First, we took a stay and a motion for stay. Oh, you have another question? You're supposed to fill out your name and paper. Yeah. In the back, there's a paper. But if you want to come up to the mic at this point, you can read out your name. You can say it in the mic. Just give your name and address, and you can come to the mic.
Okay. Mayor, I'm Bonnie Lewis, and I sent you a letter regarding the Codwell residents with the flood that happened on 06 of last year of February. And as of today, there hasn't been any heat. They turn off and on the water and electricity. And we're living in such a mess, and it's also a major renovation in the entire building. And I understand under the Quebec law that we cannot reside in there. They have to move everybody out and pay for our move and the rent for the year or however long it's going to take, and also for the move to pay both ways. And also there's another issue. There's a lot. They've been neglecting the building since, I don't know when. I moved in March 17th. There's a janitor in the building that's been stealing from me from day one. He's been caught on camera. I've had police up, and the management told me to move out. We're keeping the thief. I don't think that's right.
But Ms. Lewis, you know you've been emailing me many emails. I receive all your emails. I answer them. I've had inspectors from our urban planning department go into the buildings at your request.
Yeah.
And anything that the city can do to assist, we do. Yeah. We're a municipality, and there are things we can do to assist on many of your issues, and we have been very responsive and doing that. So continue to send me whatever an email request that you think we can help in, and we'll do it. But you have to know what areas we can work on and what's provincial, like you're saying, and what's police and what's municipal. But the municipal stuff, we'll assist.
And who takes care of the elevators? I've been stuck in it 4 times.
That's the municipal urban inspecting department would have to go in and check.
All right. There's a lot.
Yeah, I know. I've seen your email.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so, yep. Come up and you leave your name and address, please.
I don't live in Côte Saint-Luc. My name's Paula Samuel, and I am the candidate for the English Montreal School Board election for Côte Saint-Luc, Hampstead, and Montreal West.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask a quick question. Knowing how important this election, the EMSB election, is, are you guys, you as mayor and the council is going to be doing anything to promote the, to get people out to vote in next week and on November 3rd.
Well, absolutely, we are encouraging everybody to go vote. This is a very important election. People should all vote in the English Montreal School Board elections in order to ensure that we maintain our right to manage our institution. Councillor Cohn, do you have anything to add, or?
Well, I'm an employee of the school board, but yes, I don't know if everybody in this room, we have Commissioner Ellie Israel, I believe, here, I think, who's outgoing in her, I don't know if she's still here, but hopefully as many people in this building and watching this video are registered to vote. You have to go onto the EMSB website to see if you didn't get a yellow card in the mail, to see if you're eligible to vote. And advance polls for this district are at Hampstead School on Sunday, and then people in Côte Saint-Luc would vote at John Grant High School on November 3rd. And you're right, it is very important for people to go vote, and I will just be as objective as possible in that sense.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up question, is there a way you can, because I've been knocking on doors, and nobody seems to know where to vote. I'm telling everyone they got one card, they didn't get the other card, there's a lot of confusion. Is there a way to put it anywhere so that people can go to the city website and, yeah? Okay, great.
Yeah, Darrell Levine, our communications guy. We want people to go vote. We certainly want to help
All right.
any way we can.
Thank you so much.
And, and people should know.
So where do I vote, Mike?
Well, first of all, I hope you're on the list.
I'm on the list.
You would be getting a yellow card this week, and anyone living in Côte Saint-Luc, if they want to do advance polls on the 28th, they would go to Hampstead School.
Right.
And if they live in Côte Saint-Luc for November 3rd, you go to John Grant High School, which is on the side of Wager.
And if
It's
they're
the
not on the
27th.
list, is it too late?
That's November the 3rd. 27th is advance polls, November 3rd is voting day.
And
And I know
Councillor
Councillor Erdely has 2 votes in his house.
And if they're not on the list, is there any way for them to still get on the list or
No,
to be attested?
that period is concluded. You cannot get on the
I remember
list.
previous elections, you could show up and be attested
The problem is that the government makes it very difficult, as Ms. Samuel can say, because she remembers it from her reporting days. They make it very difficult for you to get on the voting list. It's not like municipal, where everyone, English and French, no matter where your kids go. In here, it's very, very challenging to get on the list. There's been a lot of effort made, and you'll be reading about it in the media the next few days. So if you don't get a yellow card and you want to know whether you're on the list, you could go to the school board website and you can type in your postal code and your name, and it'll tell you if you're on the list and where you vote. And if you're not there, don't show up to the polls because you can't vote. And I hope many of the people from the Filipino community are on the voting list. I hope.
Yes.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Mike Cohen.
Okay. Councillor Erdely.
So just going to clarify, well, just maybe to add to what Councillor Cohen said, it's very easy. I checked for my parents to make sure Councillor Cohen and I were discussing this, so I double-checked my parents, and the website was very easy, very user-friendly. But I'll just maybe clarify, the yellow card doesn't have the location. For voting, the yellow card was for the revision.
Oh, sorry, Stephen, there's a new yellow card arriving this week.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah.
So just, if you got the original yellow card, it just confirms you're on the list, but it doesn't, the original yellow card, because I looked myself, doesn't have the location of the voting, but that's the next card that will come soon.
Okay, great. All right, everybody go vote. Next. No, everybody should go vote. Very important. Bill 96. So we had a motion to stay at Superior Court. A stay is not a hearing on the merits. It's a request for the law not to apply until the hearing on the merits. It's very hard to achieve that because you have to show irreparable harm. And in our particular case, because the OQLF have not come into our cities at this point to do any what we consider illegal search and seizure, to take our documents, to consider fining us, taking away our grants, which are all things that are in the law that say they're allowed to do, but they haven't done them. The judge did not grant the stay, but in the event that the OQLF should decide in the future to come into our cities and do these things, any one of the bilingual cities, we can then take another motion to stay. So hopefully the fact that we're in the courts will encourage them not to use the law against bilingual cities. The judge also did say that there was a very important issue that was brought up with respect to contracts and search and seizure questions, which raised serious concerns. So we have that also written in the judgment of the stay, and the hearing of the merits might be in a year or 2 or 3. But in the meantime, we're there, and we are clear that we are opposed to Bill 96 affecting bilingual cities. The other update is that I had a meeting led by our Member of Parliament, Anthony Housefather, with Valerie Plante, Yar Zak, and Ita Uden from Federation, as well as Christina Smith, the Mayor of Westmount, based on various concerns that we've had with respect to anti-Semitism, one of them being, the difficulties that the City of Westmount is having with respect to businesses and residents getting in and out of their properties when protests are happening outside of the Israeli consulate. And it's really affecting some of the businesses and making life very difficult. And we wanted the mayor of Montreal, to understand the difficulties. Et on parlait avec elle en français et en anglais. On a discuté tous les problèmes pour essayer d'avoir une résolution des problèmes pour Westmount. Et aussi, il y avait des problèmes à Côte Saint-Luc. Just last week, before the high holidays, some of you might have read in the newspapers, there was some arrests. There were 5 arrests for individuals. They were individuals that came into our city in Côte Saint-Luc, and one of our security officers, thankfully, one of our public security officers looked at this van driving through our city that looked suspicious and went up and called the police to check them out. And when the police did check them out, they found that they had various devices like Molotov cocktails or accelerants that could be used as explosions. And they arrested them, and they found others in the Côte-des-Neiges area, and they arrested a total of 5 people that night. And they found later, just outside very close to my home, and in front of one of the synagogues in Côte Saint-Luc, Beth Israel, Beth Aaron, 2 Molotov cocktails, and they found them. So it's sad that we have to deal with the risk of violence, and that there are all these issues that are going on, and we wanted the mayor of Montreal to understand it firsthand from individuals who, in our communities, are suffering, and that our students who go to school in Concordia and McGill are suffering, and we need leadership at the top. So Mayor Plante was very receptive. Her answer was that she will do what she can to assist in the problem in Westmount, near the U.S. consulate, so that people can hopefully find a way with the Israeli consulate, so that they could find a way to deal with the problems that are happening for residents and for businesses in the area, and also to deal with anti-Semitism in general. And my request, obviously, from the city of Côte Saint-Luc is to have a zero tolerance towards hate speech and to not allow this type of activity to exist anywhere on the island of Montreal, and to set the tone at the top, because I find the police are excellent. In the city of Côte Saint-Luc, they're fantastic. And I think we set a very clear tone, and I think that tone of zero tolerance has to be unified throughout the city, in all the suburbs as well as in the city of Montreal. So it was a good meeting, and hopefully we'll see some efforts towards bringing down the hate and the violence that is going on presently. Okay, so that was the 2 updates that I wanted to give. And now we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes. Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I so move that the minutes from the regular meeting of September 9th, 2024 be approved.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Gajewski. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And then any business arising from the minutes? So we move to the next item, which is a motion recognizing June as Filipino Heritage Month in the city of Côte Saint-Luc. Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I so move that sorry, I got to get that motion.
For his birthday, we're giving you a lot of fun.
Yeah, sorry, I got the wrong. Let me just. I'm here. I've got it bookmarked. So, give me a second here. bear with me. I know you sort of outscooped me with that photo op, so hang on, here we go. Yeah, I've got it. Should I read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Whereas in 2018, the Government of Canada adopted Motion M155 recognizing the contributions that Filipino Canadians have made to Canadian society, the richness of the Filipino language and culture, and the importance of reflecting upon Filipino heritage for future generations by declaring June every year Filipino Heritage Month and inviting local jurisdictions to adopt similar resolutions. Whereas requests have been received from the Filipino Heritage Society, Filipino Family Services, the Federation of Filipino Canadian Associations of Quebec, United Against Hate Canada, and persons of Filipino heritage residing in the municipality to recognize every June as Filipino Heritage Month in Côte Saint-Luc, I so move and let it be resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council formally declare every month of June to be Filipino Heritage Month in Côte Saint-Luc. The Council recognize the contributions that residents of Filipino Canadians have made to the municipality's growth and well-being.
Moved by Councillor Cohn, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion? Well, we're very happy to see you all here today in big numbers, and we hope that the community, the Filipino community in Côte Saint-Luc, continues to grow. 2,000's not enough. Keep on coming into our city. We enjoy your presence. We're happy that you participate in our activities and that you're here tonight, and we're very pleased to be able to pass this resolution. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. You want to finish it? You can, if you want. It's fine.
I want to thank Marvin also for being so instrumental in bringing us all together. That's a very, very, very great initiative, Marvin, both in the United Against Hate and also in this effort to bring communities together. It's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. And now we move on to item number 6, which is departmental reports. Councilor Ministry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the monthly departmental reports for the month of September 2024.
Moved by Councilor Benizri, seconded by Councilor Kajavsky. Any discussion? Who wants to go first? Councilor Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Earlier this evening, the mayor and myself presided over a very exciting ribbon cutting. This is Public Libraries Week, and as the councillor responsible for the library portfolio, I couldn't be more proud of our library. We all are very proud of it. So today we did a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new reference desk and a few other beautiful things that have been added. When we got our donation from Rosalind Margulies last year for $500,000, it's been used very wisely and very visually. People could see it. So you could see the reference desk. It's beautiful. We have new iPads, a machine where you insert your library card. It shows your picture, and you're able to borrow an iPad or a laptop while you're in the library. There's a scanner, so you can't walk out with it. And go take it, check it out yourself. I've just posted on my blog at mikecohen.ca a complete summary of the program, so you could see that for yourself. Also want to thank my student interns from Bialik who are working on the local commerce committee with me, and Avery Hannon recently visited Ralph's Menswear. He's been at the mall since the beginning at the Cartier Cavendish, and he was our Merchant of the Month for October. And I was on the phone today working on our Merchant of the Month for November. It's a very exciting addition to the community. I will not tell you what it is now. You'll have to wait. But there's going to be an event in November to welcome them to the community. Our dog bylaw, our new dog bylaw, should be coming to council in the next month or so, we hope. Our YouTube video that I did with Jean-Marc, our director Jean-Marc from Public Security, has now had over 500 views, where we explain the changes to the dog bylaws. And finally, we had a new format this year for our golf. Rather than having a luncheon right after the golf, we combined the golf awards with the Maison Fleurie. It was a huge success. We had it at the ACC on the night when council had a caucus meeting, and we all went out for the ceremony. There were over 120 people there, and I'm getting just so many comments from people who just love the format. So we know that we've got a winner coming up for next year. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Who's next? Councillor Erdely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start on the finance side. So as I previously mentioned, in terms of welcome tax, we are doing much better than we had expected, much better than we had hoped. Last year again, we had one of our worst years at about $2.5 million. So this is the budget. This was what we used as the reference for the budget for this year for the welcome tax. We put it at about $2.6 million. As of about a month ago, we were at $5.1 million, so almost double the original budget, and there's still quite a few months to go. So this will, of course, only help the city and help in terms of the surplus will definitely be helpful in terms of capital projects and road repairs and such. Also, on the finance side, we had 74 filter rebates that were done. So just a reminder to residents who live in homes that were built where lead may have been used for the service lines, you're eligible for a filter rebate, and then these are filters that remove the lead from the water. I want to take a moment to thank our VCOP volunteers. So last month, in the month of September, we had 212 hours of shifts, or the equivalent of 424 hours of volunteer time. There were several special events that they attended, including attending our council meetings. And just as an example, yesterday, although it's in October, I had a chance to be at the Chabad event at Marc Chagall and Kildare, I should say, and in front of Alexander Luke Place, and there were some VCOP volunteers there as well. On the environmental side, I was reading through the Public Works report. We harvested the honey from our beehive on the roof of the Public Works yard just in time for the holidays, and it's something we started doing a few years ago and we'll continue to do each year to help, of course, maintain the bee population, which helps with flowers and such. In terms of electric vehicles, I wanted to share, I had a chance last week to see our newest member of the fleet, which was a Ford F-150 Lightning. So this is an electric pickup truck, the first that the city has purchased. We're testing it out, but assuming all goes well, this will be the trend for electric vehicles in terms of pickup trucks and more. And my belief is it'll save the city money. Just as a given example, each of our public security vehicles uses about $10,000 of gas. Let's say $5,000 to $10,000 of gas per year. So imagine we can cut that down virtually to zero with electric vehicles. I'll also mention a reoccurring issue that we're hoping to resolve is we're continuing to have difficulties in terms of the organic waste drop-off site with the City of Montreal, the site in Saint Laurent. This is one that we had mentioned in a motion a few weeks ago. It's continuing to be not well designed, and the more we use it, the more we realize flaws. So it's something we're going to be pushing Montreal hopefully to resolve and repair. And I'll finish on the local district, on District 4. One thing that was done I guess a few weeks ago, we updated 2 of the water cannons at Schwartz Park. The next one that's coming is Fletcher Park is going to get a bathroom. So we purchased it. It's going to be a modular piece that should be installed soon. I know I passed by just yesterday. They're working on, I guess, the base and all the pipes to make sure everything is set, but hopefully it'll be installed shortly. And finally, one that we were pushing for a little while was the demolition, although I should say this is not in Côte Saint-Luc, it's just on the Montreal side. We were pushing for the demolition of the building at the corner of Robert Burns and Côte Saint-Luc Road. As you may know, this is a building that there had been a fire. There were, I believe, squatters living there. So finally, it was demolished, and we hope, of course, something new will be put up. We've seen some of the rough plans. Again, it's on the Montreal side, but we'll try to, I know Councillor Burku was mentioning this as well, we'll try to advise the residents as soon as we have more information. So that's it for me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll just start by speaking on behalf of Councillor Schuster, who unfortunately is under the weather. She asked me to just mention that on October 27th is our annual, I guess we can call it our annual Enchanted Forest event at Trudeau Park. So this is an event that we've had 2 years running now. The first year, I think we were expecting about 1,000 people, and we had close to 10,000 people show up. And then the following year, we were expecting 3,000, and we had like 8,000 people show up. So hopefully we get an excellent showing. I just took it upon myself to check the weather, and it looks like it's going to be sunny, but cold, not 23 degrees. So dress warm, but come out because it's really a fun night. And I would suggest you also experience it in the light and in the dark. So come and do a walkthrough at around 5:30, and then do it again in the dark at 6:30. Completely different experience. So highly recommended for families, kids as young as, I'd say, 3 years old are fine. Just dress them warm. The other thing to mention is Volunteer Appreciation Night is on November 6th, so we're having our annual kind of thank you to our volunteers and passing out some awards, which kind of reminds me just to mention also that that the swim team, or the Côte Saint-Luc Aquatics, has had a really, really good turnout so far in the early season of parents coming out to train as timers and as judges, stroke judges and turn judges, and we need all kinds of people in aquatics. Both my 2 older children are on the swim team. So thanks to those volunteers, and thank you to all our volunteers. I don't think I'll have the opportunity to do so on Volunteer Appreciation Night, because it's really just the night for people to go out, go watch a movie, have some popcorn and drinks, and have a good time. For myself, I guess we had to do the Kerwin opening, right, in the last month? Yes, we had the grand reopening of Kerwin Park, the ribbon cutting with the giant scissors, which my little one helped us, and former Councillor Alan Levine was there on hand to reopen officially the park with us. It was a nice showing and a good event. People got to explore the chalet for the first time, which is now open to the public. And, well, I don't want to say, hopefully sooner rather than later we'll have the skating rink in, although I don't want to pray for cold, but at the same time it would be nice to see that park kind of transformed. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I guess that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Kajewski. Councillor Burker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 2 things. First of all, the Cavendish petition garnered 3,000 signatures. So that's a respectable number. I was, hoping to have in the thousands, so we got 3,000. And basically, it's going to be presented to the National Assembly this week, either tomorrow or Thursday. I don't know if I got a response from Elizabeth Prass, but she told us that it was going to be presented either on Tuesday or on Thursday, at which point the government then has some time to respond. There's some formality to it, but we hope that the Liberals who are supporting this will push in the National Assembly and push the CAC to respond to the petition, because basically we need to open Cavendish, as Mr. Sabin mentioned. We definitely need to open Cavendish, not only as a connection for tramway and for a bike path, but also for a road, which was the original intent of the Cavendish agreement, of the Hippodrome agreement. The second thing is, I lost my thought. Oh yeah, master plan, thank you. So we were originally intended to present the master plan notice of motion this evening. However, there are a few details that still need to be worked out. So we will be presenting the master plan, the zoning bylaw, and all related bylaws, hopefully on November 20th. And we'll have a presentation at that time as well. And the first notice of motion, followed by public consultations, which will take place at a subsequent meeting after the November 20th meeting.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Burku. Anyone else? Councillor Benizri.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just mentioning about public works, that all our teams are getting ready, for the winter. Maintenance, in different parks, city buildings, the median on the roads, removing flowers, preparing all the trucks. So I would like just to thank, all our team for all the hard work they're doing, and also all the directors of our departments. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I think that's everybody spoke. Great. So moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. We move to item number 7, Financial and Information Technologies. Councillor Erdely. You can handle it from A to D.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that bylaw 2634, entitled Bylaw Repealing Bylaw 2603, authorizing a loan of $1,386,000, including professional fees for the replacement of various lead service lines throughout the territory of the city of Côte Saint-Luc, be and is hereby adopted.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion?
So I'll explain. Actually, in these two, the first two items are linked. So basically what we're doing, we're repealing a bylaw that was adopted previously to spend approximately $1.4 million on replacement of lead pipes, as I was talking about. They replace the service lines. So to clarify, the work was actually done. However, we ended up getting government funding from the TECQ, the tech grant, which is the gas tax grant. So what happened was the rules were changed with regard to the gas tax. Originally, this was not eligible, and then at some point in the middle of the program, they made it eligible. So we had authorized the loan, and then in the end got government funding to do the work, which will lead to the next item, which is where we are shifting that money. Rather than doing lead service line replacement, we're going to use that money to repave roads. So that'll be in the next item. But first, I guess we'll officially adopt this one, though.
Moved and
Thank you.
seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? It's carried unanimously, and we go to B.
Thank you. So I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2635 to be entitled Bylaw Authorizing a Loan of $1,386,000, including professional fees for the resurfacing of roads and sidewalk repairs at various locations belonging to the city of Côte Saint-Luc, will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. Furthermore, I'm mentioning the object and scope of the bylaw and tabling the draft bylaw as well.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion?
So again, this is to shift that money, the approximately $1.4 million from lead service replacement, which was done with government funding, to road repairs. And this actually will help us get a head start and hopefully go to tender earlier for the road repairs.
Which one is that? Oh, the draft bylaw.
So I don't know, I don't think we vote on this?
Not on the
Med
notice of
sector?
motion.
Yeah.
The draft bylaw is the vote.
Oh, sorry. Do we
You table the draft.
We table it? Okay. So we notice of motion and table if you did them both.
Yeah.
So you did them both. That's fine.
Quickly explain the object.
Yeah. Okay. So move on to the next item. Okay.
Warning of a contract.
Okay. Next one is, be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby awards a contract to Le Groupe Gesfort Poirier Pinchin, Inc. for the characterization of materials that may contain hazardous substances for certain city-owned buildings for an amount of up to $37,250, plus applicable taxes, and that Treasurer Certificate number 24-0102, dated October 11th, 2024, has been issued by the City Treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion?
So I'll explain. So about a year ago, a new accounting standard, and I believe it's, I'm just checking, PS 3280 came into effect. And this standard requires cities to determine the cost of decontamination of their assets. So that includes buildings, that includes things like the snow dump, for example, pieces of land and so on, where there may be contaminants. So what we have to do is hire a company. In this case, it'll be Gesfort. What they'll do is an analysis of all the city buildings and city properties that are listed here. And based on that, they'll identify where there may be contaminants, and then the city has to calculate or estimate the cost to remove those. And again, this is an accounting procedure that every city must do in the province of Quebec. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Erdely. and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Now we go to D.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the attached list of disbursements for the period of September 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2024, for a total amount of $11,104,219.16 in Canadian funds, and that Treasurer Certificate number 24-0094, dated October 2nd, 2024, has been issued by the City Treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Early, seconded by Councillor Kajavsky. Any discussion?
So this one is at 11 million and change. It's higher than our average. I'll share some of the, some of the larger amounts. So we have a payment for the road resurfacing that was done over the summer. We have payment for new vehicles, for streetlights, for our water services, waste removal, and but the largest one is a capital bond repayment bond 24, which is about $3.3 million, and that's a regular bond that we, one of the bonds we pay every few years. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously, and we move on to item number 8. Councillor Burku, 8A, competition.
I'll read it in French. Attendu que la Ville de Côte Saint-Luc souhaite participer au concours des prix d'excellence du réseau de la santé et des services sociaux, attendu que le Living Lab de Côte Saint-Luc est en lien avec la politique gouvernementale sur le vieillissement, vieillir et vivre ensemble, il est proposé et résolu que le conseil municipal de Côte Saint-Luc présente sa candidature, la candidature du Living Lab au concours des prix d'excellence du réseau de la santé et des services sociaux. So let me explain. If I have a seconder, I'll explain. There is a competition that was opened by the government asking municipalities to submit projects for a prize in the health sector. And the Living Lab is such a prize. Such a project that we are submitting to obtain a prize, and hopefully we're going to get it. So we've already prepared the submission, and we needed a resolution in order to support our submission. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Burku. Do we need a motion? Yeah. Seconded by Councillor Benizri. Guess you explained it already. So all in favor? No one's opposed. Carried unanimously. We go to HR 9A, B, C, D. Councillor Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll begin with moving that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the hiring of Adam Polak as an IT technician, full-time permanent white-collar position effective September 26, 2024, that the Treasurer Certificate number 24-0096, dated October 11, 2024, has been issued by the City Treasurer, testing the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Benizri. Any discussion? None? That's pretty clear. All in favor? Yeah.
I just want to say I met him today, and he seems charming.
Charming. We like that.
Yeah, very charming.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to B, the white collars.
I so move, Mr. Mayor, that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the hiring of the white-collar auxiliary employees whose names are listed on the document titled Auxiliary Employees White Collars Hiring, dated October 2nd, 2024, and that said employees' terms of employment will be as per the conditions of the collective agreement, that Treasurer Certificate number 24-0095, dated October 11th, 2024, has been issued by the City Treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Kajavsky. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move on to C.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is group insurance. I so move that the preamble, that that is included in the resolution as an integral part of the present terms and conditions as it recited at length, that the council hereby confirms its adherence to solution UMQ with respect to group insurance for its employees and our elected officials at the municipality's choice, that membership in the regrouping solution UMQ will be for a maximum period of 5 years for the duration of April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2029, that the City of Côte Saint-Luc mandates UMQ to act as an agent represented in the group insurance contract to be awarded following the application of this agreement, as well as its renewal, as well as access for its group insurance file with the insurer in compliance with the rules for the protection of personal information, that the City of Côte Saint-Luc undertakes to pay UMQ management fees of 1.15% of the total premiums paid by the City of Côte Saint-Luc during the contract and remuneration of 0.65% of the total of premiums paid by the municipality to the consultant Mallet Actuaries joins the mandate obtained for the regrouping following a public call for tenders.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Benizri. Any discussion? All in favor? No one opposed? Carried unanimously. And we move to item D. Councillor Cohen.
That I so move that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the hiring of Don Matterson Flourville and Hector Manuel Almanzar as general laborers, full-time auxiliary blue-collar position effective September 23rd, 2024. The Treasurer's certificate number 240097 dated October 16th, 2024 has been issued by the City Treasurer attesting the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Benizri. Sounds good. Any discussion on the blue collars for Public Works? All in favor? Carried unanimously. We move to Legal Services. Councillor Burku, A, B, C, D. Legal Services 10.
Be it resolved that council hereby authorizes to hold its regular monthly sittings for the 2025 calendar year as set out in the sitting schedule annexed herewith as Annex A to form an integral part of the minutes. I don't think I need to read out all the dates. They will be published in the newspaper. There's one per month, usually second Tuesday of the month. Okay. That's it? Seconder?
Seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion? If you like the schedule? Or what do we have?
I was going to say, Councillor Burke, you may want to mention just with regard to the election about there being no meeting in October.
Okay. The last meeting will be on the 29th of September before the election, which will be held in November of 2025. And then what are those 4 stars next to the 20? That's the first meeting of November, right? Okay, so that's it.
Okay. All right. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we go to B.
Just a second.
Mike Cohen's pecuniary interest.
I think I said the second Tuesday, I should have said the second Monday. Yeah, I said Monday? Okay. Well, what did I say? Did I say Monday or Tuesday? There you go. See, I made a mistake. Thank you. Résolution pour recevoir la déclaration d'intérêt pécuniaire du conseiller Mike Cohen, que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc déclare officiellement avoir reçu une telle déclaration d'intérêt pécuniaire de la part du conseiller Mike Cohen et ordonne à la greffière de la ville de déposer la déclaration aux archives de la ville et d'envoyer le relevé des élus qui ont déposé leur déclaration au ministère des Affaires municipales de l'Habitation. Merci.
OK. Proposé par le conseiller Burko, appuyé par le conseiller Benizri. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
No, so he's the only one who's filing his declaration this month because he was acclaimed last election, and so he's 1 month ahead of the rest of us. Correct.
So it's moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously, and we move to C.
Okay, this is for a encroachment agreement related to 5891 Stephen Leacock. Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc Council hereby accepts the encroachment agreement with the owner and ratifies the city clerk's signature of the encroachment agreement, and that the city clerk be hereby authorized to sign on the city's behalf a deed of servitude of tolerance to give effect to the aforementioned encroachment agreement. That's it. Thank you very
Moved by
much.
Councilor Berkous, seconded by Councilor Ben-Isri. Any discussion?
Yeah, so I'll just explain. The owner located 5891, Stephen Leacock, has built a fence and a patio on the land adjacent to their property, and that land is owned by the city. It's bordering the sidewalk. And so we entered into an encroachment agreement, must be executed between the owner and the city in regard to this encroachment by approximately 1.25 meters or 4 feet, more or less. So the way we do this, instead of selling the land, because we can't really sell public land that's bordering a public right-of-way, is that the reason we can't sell the land? Because we don't sell public land bordering a public, is it a public right-of-way?
If it's a street or if it's
Right, okay. So what we do is then we enter into an encroachment agreement, and there are fees attached to that. And I just to be clear, so others may want to do the same, it's $2,500 is the initial cost, which has been paid already, and the encroachment is 20 square meters. So that fee, according to the tariff bylaw, will be $500 a year.
Right, and it depends on the square meters
Right.
that you're encroaching.
Right,
That will be your annual fee.
right,
Correct.
right.
Right. You need our permission, and it has to satisfy certain requirements. Urban development would have to study the request.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So that one's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. With respect to what? This item? So the next item. D. Yeah, you're doing them all. You're doing all of 10.
This is our traffic map.
Be it resolved. Whereas a notice of motion was given at a regular sitting of the council held on July 8th, 2024, be it resolved that bylaw 2629, entitled Bylaw to Regulate Parking and Public Safety, be and is hereby adopted.
Moved by Councilor Berkous, seconded by Councilor Ridley. Any discussion?
So this is basically a bylaw with regard to parking and public security, and we're just finalizing the details. So it's cleaning and consolidation. Thank you, Councillor Kojawski.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? No one opposed? Carried unanimously, and we move to the next item, which is item 11, Public Works, and A, B, and C by Councillor Ben-Isri.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Est résolu que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc octroie par la présente un contrat d'1 an pour des services de conciergerie à Axia pour la période entre le 1er janvier 2025 et le 31 décembre 2025 pour un montant maximal de 306 220 $ et 51 cents, plus les taxes applicables selon les mêmes modalités que celles de l'appel d'offres C-18-14, qu'un certificat du trésorier sera émis en janvier 2025 pour attester de la disponibilité des fonds nécessaires pour couvrir les dépenses décrites ci-dessus, que la conseillère générale de la ville soit par la présente autorisée à signer la lettre d'entente entre les parties établissant les modalités du contrat.
Proposé par le conseiller Benizri, appuyé par le conseiller Kajowski. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
This is just a renewal of a contract for janitorial services for the year 2025.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. We move to item 11B.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just going to the page, sorry. Est résolu que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc octroie par la présente un contrat à Équipement Saint-Germain incorporé pour la location de 2 niveleuses pour une période de 3 mois débutant le 1er janvier 2025 pour un montant total de 84 530 $ plus les taxes applicables. Qu'un certificat du trésorier sera émis par le trésorier de la ville en janvier 2025 pour attester de la disponibilité des fonds pour couvrir les dépenses décrites.
Proposé par le conseiller Benizri et appuyé par le conseiller Early. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
Just renting 2 graders for snow removal for the winter, for the next season.
Excellent. Moved and seconded. All in favor? No one opposed? Carried unanimously. We move to the next item, which is 11C. Councillor Benizri.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just getting to the page. Est résolu que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc approuve et adopte par la présente la lettre entente en vigueur à partir du 22 octobre 2024, renouvelant l'entente originale en date du 15 mai 2009 pour l'utilisation du dépôt de neige tel que modifié par les 11 renouvellements précédents entre la ville de Côte Saint-Luc et la ville de Hampstead pour la saison hivernale 2024-2025. Que la conseillère générale de la ville soit autorisée par la présente à signer la lettre entente de renouvellement susmentionnée au nom de la ville.
Proposé par le conseiller Benizri, appuyé par le conseiller Kajowski. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions? Go ahead.
This is the renewal of the agreement for the dumping of snow between the city of Côte Saint-Luc and the town of Hampstead.
So moved and seconded, all in favor? Oh, okay, any discussion?
Just in anticipation of the annual email we receive, I will remind those who send the email that the city is now earning almost $76,000 for allowing Hampstead to dump in their snow in our yards, and plus we're being good neighbors. I mean, I considered even voting against this last year and this year. However, our Public Works Department has done and continues to do a good analysis to make sure we're getting our money's worth, I guess you would say, that the agreement is fair towards Côte Saint-Luc and that it doesn't affect operations in our snow dump in any way.
Okay. Any other discussion? Otherwise, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, so it's been adopted. Okay. Okay. So then we move on to the next item, which is 12, urban development. Mitch Kajowski. Oh, yeah, Councillor, no, number 12, but Stephen's doing it, right, Councillor Erdely's doing it.
Yeah, I'll do this one, and Councilor Kachowski will do the next ones. So be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby declares the bids received from Dubo Electrique Limited and Nedco Quebec non-conforming, therefore these bids are rejected. That the City Council hereby awards a contract for the purchase of LED lights to Lumen Division of Sonpar Canada, Inc., the sole bidder, for a total amount of $206,903.60 plus applicable taxes. That Treasurer Certificate number TC 24-0101, dated October 11, 2024, has been issued by the City Treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses. That the described expenses shall be financed from loan bylaws number 2523 and 2542. That the Director of Urban Development is hereby appointed to proceed with the evaluation of Lumen Division of Sonpar Canada, Inc.'s performance within this tendered contract.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Kajabi. Any discussion?
So I'll give a bit of background on this. So in Côte Saint-Luc, we have just over 2,000 streetlights. So we have replaced, actually, just checking the number, 832 streetlights have been replaced. These are what we call the Cobra heads. So these are the ones, for example, on Cavendish, on Côte Saint-Luc Road, certain stretches of Mackle, certain stretches of Kildare, and a few side streets. So those have all been done. Right now, what we're working on are the cubes. So these are the glass cubes that you'll see on many of the side streets. Of those, we have 1,046. Of the 1,046, we've done 31. These were different tests we did with decorative lights, and usually they were done when the roads were repaved. So that leaves just over 1,000, and the plan is to do about 100 a year, and we're actually going to be doing them in-house with our public works electricians. So this is to purchase the first batch of 100. Hopefully, this will be a good sort of test for the next few years to see how it goes. If they're even more efficient, my hope would be that we can do it in less than 10 years, but obviously we'll get a sense. And just to remind everyone, these are the ones that are actually attached to hydro poles, so it makes it actually a little bit more complicated. The Cobra heads are usually on metal poles that the city owns. These are on wooden poles that hydro owns, so it's a little bit more complicated in terms of what we can and cannot do. But we'll see how it goes, and I'll give an update over the next few months, or over the next year, I should say, as to how it goes with these next 100, and hopefully we'll be able to accelerate it, because I know I'll just mention I had a resident who emailed me just in the last few days saying, when is my street light going to be replaced with an LED? Because he saw some of the new ones that they had put up. So the residents want it, we want it as well. Thank you.
So it's been moved and seconded.
Quick comment, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, go ahead. Speak
So
about
just,
lights.
just a good example of how we use the feedback from the residents, because I happen to have been on, or my old house happened to be on the street, one of the streets where we installed the new fixtures was the northern block of Smart Avenue between Mackle and the tracks. So the two streets that we've done, I believe, are those two same blocks of Smart and Hudson. When we repaved the street, we put in the new LED fixtures, and we used the feedback from the residents and my feedback as well that the lights were a little dim and the light was a little unidirectional. So engineering took that feedback, made some adjustments, did some photometric studies, and hopefully the lights that we've ordered, or I know that they will be a little bit different and will emit a little more light. So we made those adjustments based on feedback from the residents.
All right, so it's moved and seconded. All in favor? It's carried unanimously. Great, and now we go to urban development. 13A, Councillor Erdely. Councillor Kajabi, I think? This should be Kajabi. This is Kajabi. You're doing the rest.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So be it resolved that in conformity with the Act respecting land use planning and development, the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby adopts bylaw number 2630 entitled Bylaw Concerning Specific Construction, Alteration, or Occupancy Proposals for an Immovable, or SCAOP, or in French, the Pépé C'est Moi, in its entirety, as well as chapter by chapter, section by section, article by article, paragraph by paragraph, subparagraph by subparagraph, and subtext by subtext, so that if any chapter, section, article, paragraph, subparagraph, or subtext should be deemed null and void by a court of competent jurisdiction, all the provisions of this bylaw shall remain valid and fully applicable.
I'm going to second it, and I'm going to mention the changes between the first draft and this final draft. So you read the entire resolution, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the difference between this draft and the first draft is that we've excluded those areas of the city that pertain to recreational, commercial, and railways usage. And the reason that we did that is because we felt that the PPCMOI should apply to areas, and I'll just read from the resolution. Just give me a second. I'll read the original document. Give me a second. I just got to get to the English. I don't want to switch to French. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. I don't know which page it's on. Okay, got it. Okay, so whereas Section 145 allows municipalities to adopt a bylaw concerning specific construction, alteration, or occupancy proposals, whereas such a bylaw is intended to empower the council to authorize upon request and subject to certain conditions a specific construction, alteration, or occupancy that derogates from any of the municipality's planning bylaws, whereas the intention of the City of Côte Saint-Luc is to allow flexibility and adaptation of the regulatory framework for certain projects while ensuring respect for the environment where such a project could be located, subject to social acceptability, such as, for example, allowing for daycare in residential zone or commercial use in an institutional zone. We gave a notice of motion in September, and now we're adopting the bylaw. So that is the explanation that I wanted to add to the proposal. And is there any other discussion? No? So then I put the bylaw to a vote. All in favor? It's carried. Do we now have quorum if the mayor has left the room? I'll vote for it. Yes. Yes. Okay. So we're adopted unanimously. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is urban planning. And I'll pass the mic on to Councillor Kujawski, who will do the items Emerson and Pineview, both in terms of site planning and minor exemption.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. So be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing a partial second-story addition to the existing detached single-family dwelling on lot 1561826 and prepared for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting of September 10th, 2024 by Agapi and Alt Architects, SENC, be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc. So look at page 503.
So the visual is up on the screen. What page is that, Councillor Early?
One page before, please, if you can. There you go.
What page
There
is
it
that?
You got it.
I just want to look at, 503?
503, yeah.
Okay, so
So that's a new home on Emerson.
that's Emerson. That's a new home on Emerson.
Yeah. Went back and forth a couple of times, just with modifications to the
All right.
materials, color of those materials. It'll be a nice addition to the streets.
Yeah,
certainly.
looks very nice. So all those in favor? The site plan for Emerson? So that's adopted. And 7485 Pineview? Councillor Kujawski?
Thank you. Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing a rear extension to the existing detached single-family dwelling on lot 1054287 and prepare for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting of September 10th, 2024 by Yvonne Duval, TP, for Solarium Espace de Vie, be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Moved by Councillor Kujawski, seconded by
All
Councillor Burku. Any discussion?
Yes, you see it up on the screen. It's just the addition of a extension solarium in the rear of a home on Pineview. See it on the right.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously, and now we go to minor exemptions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of bylaw number 2632, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 6884 Emerson, lot 1561826, be and is hereby approved, the whole as more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow the existing detached single-family dwelling built in 1981 under permit number 1981-04158 to maintain its existing front setback at a minimum of 4.57 meters instead of the minimum required setback of 6.09 meters, to maintain its existing rear setback at a minimum of 9.14 meters instead of the minimum required setback of 9.9 meters, the construction of a second-story addition along the existing front setback at a minimum of 4.57 meters instead of the minimum required setback of 6.09 meters, the construction of a new porch with an encroachment into the minimum front setback of a maximum of 3.05 meters instead of a maximum of 2.13 meters. The whole, notwithstanding provisions of zoning bylaw number 2217, Annex B, Zone RU 32, Article 422, Table 1, Article 441, and Article 443.
Moved by Councilor Kajewski, seconded by Councilor Ben-Isri. Any discussion? We already did this one.
Yep.
So, all in favor? Carried unanimously, and now we go to Pine View, which is also minor exemption.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of bylaw number 2632, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 7485 Pineview, Lot 105, 4287, be and is hereby approved, the whole as more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow the existing detached single-family dwelling built in 1963 under permit number 1962-01741 to maintain its existing front setback at a minimum of 4.54 meters instead of the minimum required front setback of 4.57 meters, to maintain the existing rear balcony at a minimum distance of 2.9 meters from the rear land line instead of the minimum required distance of 3.05 meters, and with an encroachment into the minimum rear setback of 3.2 meters instead of the maximum permitted encroachment of 3.05 meters. To allow the construction of a rear extension with a minimum rear setback of 2.9 meters instead of the minimum required rear setback of 6.1 meters, a new balcony at a minimum distance of 2.9 meters from the rear land line instead of the minimum required distance of 3.05 meters, and with an encroachment into the minimum rear setback of 3.2 meters instead of the maximum permitted encroachment of 3.05 meters. The whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw number 2217, Annex B, Zone RU 27, Article 422, Table 1, Article 441, Article 443, and Article 445A.
Moved by Councilor Kajewski and seconded by Councilor Ben-Isri. Again, already done, so all in favor? Carried unanimously, and now we go to the next one, 6550 Mozart.
So we are, what are we doing with Mozart? We're doing it? We're doing it. We're deferring one.
No, not this one.
No, we're
It's
good.
the next one.
There was another one. Yeah, okay. Just making sure. Okay. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of bylaw number 2632, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 6550 Mozart, lot 156-1109, be and is hereby refused, the whole as more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow synthetic grass in the rear yard at a minimum distance of 0 meters from the rear and lateral land lines, instead of at a minimum distance of 0.6 meters from any property line. The combination of a patio and synthetic grass in the rear yard of main building with a maximum total area of 70% instead of the maximum permitted area of 50% of the said rear yard. Synthetic grass in the lateral yards instead of only in the rear yard at a minimum distance of 0 meters from the lateral land lines instead of at a minimum distance of 0.6 meters from any property line. Synthetic grass up to the trunk edge of a tree instead of at a minimum distance of 0.91 meters from the trunk edge of a tree. The whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw number 2217, Article 442, Article 443H, Article 446, and Article 467. My apologies.
Moved by Councilor Kajewski, seconded by, who's doing it? Councilor Burku. Any discussion?
Just do not put synthetic grass in your yards. Use real grass.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? So it's carried unanimously, and now we move to 5571 Borden.
So I propose to defer this item.
Okay,
I propose to defer this item, please.
so deferred, do we need a motion to defer it?
Yeah, we would adopt the resolution and give the date to which it's going to be adjudicated.
Okay. 20th of November, I guess? Oui. Je vais répondre à la fin de la réunion. Je vous l'ai dit au début. What? No.
So, in other words, we would defer it to our council meeting in November?
Correct.
Right, so,
Or December, we could do December. It's no, it's going to give me more time.
just to avoid a second public notice, we would tell anybody in the audience tonight the date at which.
Okay, so when is the public meeting in December? 'Cause I might miss it, so I don't want to miss it. The public meeting? Not the special budget meeting, the regular,
I
I wanna
have
resolve
9th
it.
of December,
that's good.
so it'll be deferred, the proposal on the table right now is to defer this minor exemption to Monday, December 9th, 2024.
Correct.
With demolitions, it's true, you can only defer those ones. I don't know of a specific requirement with minor exemptions.
No, it's to avoid the cost of public notice.
So that we would tell anybody who's here in the audience tonight when it will be adjudicated upon again. There is an article in the act.
Hang on just a second, I just want to be sure that I'm going to, because I know I'm going to miss, December 9th. right.
Correct.
Wait a second. Oh, our council meeting in November is not November 20th. Oh, right,
Consultation?
right, okay. No, yeah,
I
that's,
have November 11th.
that's the reason, yes, I
November
I won't be at that meeting. So that's December 9th, thank you very much.
Okay, so we have a mover, right? And
Right.
Who's our seconder to defer? Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Problem solved.
All in favor? Carried? Fine. Okay, next. Stephen Leacock.
Last but not least.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of bylaw number 2632, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 5891 Stephen Leacock, lot 1561663, be and is hereby approved, the whole as more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow the existing detached single-family dwelling built in 1987 under permit number 1986-00062 to maintain its existing front setback at 6.8 meters instead of the minimum required front setback of 9.14 meters. A patio to be located in the secondary front yard and at a minimum distance of 0 meters from the secondary front landline instead of being located exclusively at the rear of the main building and at a minimum distance of 0.6 from the meters from the landline when the patio is adjacent to a swimming pool that is located at 1.83 meters or less from said landline. A patio to be located at the rear of the main building with a minimum setback of 0 meters from the secondary front landline instead of at a minimum distance of 0.6 meters from the landline when the patio is adjacent to a swimming pool that is located at 1.83 meters or less from the said landline and with a minimum setback of 0.3 meters from the east lateral landline instead of the minimum required lateral setback of 0.91 meters. Damn. The combination of a balcony and patio in the rear yard of the main building with a maximum total area of 65% instead of the maximum permitted area of 50% of the said rear yard. The whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw number 2217 Annex B, Zone RU48, Article 441, Article 443, Article 445C, and Article 446.
Moved by Councillor Kajavsky, seconded by Councillor Benizri. Any discussion?
Yeah, so this is, if you see on the screen, it's a permanent, semi-permanent kind of coverage. Oh, you don't see it? You see Stephen Erdely?
Stephen Erdely.
That's okay, I'll describe it in detail. Okay, oh, it's good, I was going to describe it. Okay, good, I'm glad I don't have to describe it in detail now. Nobody wants to hear that. So if you see the coverage that I mentioned at 65% versus 50 is I call it a permanently temporary coverage. It's patio stones primarily that make up a basketball court in an area that is really not seen at all from the front of the house nor the public. So we decided to allow this minor exception. Hold on, Stephen Leacock.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And the stance at the Aglo, Councillor Cohen. Item 14.
I got it. Yeah, I so move that the council take the following stance in view of any agglomeration council meetings to be held in November 2024 as follows: to authorize the mayor or his duly authorized replacement to make any decisions he deems necessary and in the best interest of the city of Côte Saint-Luc and its residents regarding the items on the agenda of the agglomeration council meetings to be held in November 2024 based on the information to be presented during those meetings.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Benizri. All in favor? No?
I want to make a comment, please.
Okay, any discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So this is the stance of the Aglo for the meeting of,
No.
for the meeting of November, I think you said? Yeah, okay. But there is going to be an Aglo meeting on Thursday, October 24th. And I wanted to mention that at that meeting, there's an item on the agenda which is to basically create an office de la langue française at the level of the agglomeration. So the City of Montreal is asking the Council of Montreal and also the Council of the agglomeration to give it the power to apply the language rules with regard to municipalities, both in the charter and as amended by Bill 96. And as everyone knows, we are very much opposed to many of the amendments in Bill 96. So we will definitely be voting against the proposal to create this Office de la langue française at the agglomeration level, which is now going to be
Right.
enforcement
Of illegal enforcement.
harsh language rules.
Ridiculous, ridiculous.
So thank you very much. Just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
So moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously, and move to adjourn. Oh, other business? Any second questions? Any questions?
Toby Schulman sent me a note saying that she can't raise her hand, but she has a question for the second period, so she's on Zoom.
Go for it. Where's the question? Where do I hear it from? They have to be sent by email.
Okay, well, she's listening, so.
She could send it to us.
Send us an email.
The procedure as it's listed on the website, Counselor, is that the residents have to go to our website, complete the form, and we will read out their question before the end of the question period. So as I haven't received one, then I think that's the end.
So if there's no, anyway, we'll have to try to do it in the right way for next meeting. And anyways, email me anytime and I'll get that response to you, Ms. Schulman. So move to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Okay, carried unanimously, we're adjourned.
Seconded by